Good evening, everyone. Let's just get this set up. Screen share on. Ta-da. There we go. Awesome. Won't start soon. It is starting now. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me again for day 4 of our Shifting Perspective Initiative workshop. I will just check everything is working and then we will get underway. This little flicky bit. Yeah, I'm not on mute. My camera's on. We're good to go. So this week we have been looking at Introduction and Paradigms on day 1 on Monday. Day 2 we looked at mindset. Wednesday, day 3, we looked at habits. And today we are focusing on the third key essential ingredient to your success, which is your motivation. Because let's face it, if there's no motivation, what are we doing it for? Okay, so welcome for those of you who are joining me as you coming in. And we are just getting started. So today's agenda, we are going to look at why we must have a goal. We're going to look at what is a worthy goal. How do we set a worthy goal? How does a goal keep us motivated? The get done list, which is my favorite thing on the planet for my motivation during the day, and our accountability before looking at our homework. So just sorting out the camera thingy because it's just decided to go a bit strange. And yeah, let's get going. So motivation. Unlike all the other species on our wonderful little blue planet, we are not mere spectators. We have the ability to set goals and reach goals and create our own environment, which is what we covered a little bit with mindset on Tuesday. So, but what do we know how to focus on? And that is the point of having a goal. Okay, so a lot of this information is based on this fantastic little book. So yesterday we were looking at Atomic Habits by James Clear. Today, Psycho-Cybernetics, written by Maxwell Maltz in the 60s. I have done a couple of blog posts on this kind of topic and also on the creative mechanism that he speaks about, where I've taken that a little bit further within a couple of the blogs on my website, rethinkyourperspective.com. So what Maxwell Maltz said in this, he was a plastic surgeon, and he noticed that in some people, it didn't matter that he fixed the disfiguration of their face or their body. They would still think of themselves as not worthy, and they would still internally see themselves as still having the disfiguration. And he realized actually there's more in the mind than there is just in the physical disfiguration. So if you see yourself as disfigured or overweight or shy, that is how you behave. And he also realized after doing lots and lots of research on this and his various patients that he treated, that people need something to live for. Otherwise, they just quite simply die. And he referenced years and years ago when men especially, they would get to retirement age and within a couple of years they'd die. Because at the time, it was expected for men to retire and then all they did all day was sit in the rocking chair reading the paper. They had nothing to live for, so the body just gave up. And he also mentioned a couple of examples where he'd seen quite young people become physically old because somebody had convinced them that there was absolutely nothing to live for. And he realized that if you can convince someone that there is nothing to live for, they will just die. They will just grow old and they will die. And I don't know about you, but I know quite a few young people who look old before their time. They worry, they stress, they just focus on all the negative, and they just look physically old. And they're only in their 30s. But yet we also know people in their 60s or 70s who look physically young, like they're drinking from the fountain of youth. And it is all because they have a purpose, they have something to live for, so they live. And because they've got something to strive for, they go and get it. And their body's like, woohoo, let's keep going. Yeah. And in the book, Maxwell Maltz correlates this, wrong word, relates this to a cybernetic organism. So our mind is like a cybernetic organism. It needs something to focus on, a bit like a torpedo. When you fire a torpedo or a rocket into space, it needs a destination, it needs something to head for. And then as it's heading towards it, it makes little corrections as it goes along. It's constantly correcting its mistakes. If it wasn't making any mistakes, it would just be floating along. Same with us. If we don't make mistakes, we don't learn. So we need to make mistakes to learn from it. And to grow within ourselves, what Maxwell Maltz says is that we must make changes to who we are. So who I am right now is not the person who is going to achieve the goals that I have set myself. I need to be acting and thinking and doing like that person is. Read the book. It is absolutely amazing. Okay. But even with a really, really big goal, we can still get stuck. And that is because of our paradigms. So as I've said before, when we set a goal, we then need to change our habits. We have to make that committed decision and then change our habits to reach it. Because if we make the decision and then don't do anything, well, we're just going to shift back down. Remember we were talking about our thought frequencies? It's all within there. Okay? So the bit that people have been asking questions on is, what is a worthy goal? Now, I first heard the term worthy goal from my mentor, Bob Proctor, who has been teaching this stuff for quite a while. And what he does is he compares goals in 3 levels. So you've got A type, B type, and C type. Now, he said an A type goal is something you've done before. So he always gave the example of, he had someone come up to him in a seminar who said, I've got a goal and I'm really excited about it. And what do you think? He said, okay, what's the goal? And he said, I'm going to buy a brand new car. Okay, what kind of car? And he explained the car and everything else. And Bob turned around and said, have you ever done that before? Well, what do you drive now, even, is the question that he asked. And he said, oh, I drive this type of car. I think it was a Chevrolet. And Bob said, but if you drive a Chevrolet now, when did you buy it? Oh, 4 years ago. So you bought a Chevrolet 4 years ago, and your new goal is to buy a new Chevrolet. Yes. Well, that's not a worthy goal because you've already done it. Now, the B-type goal is where most of us end up. A B-type goal is something that you think you can do. So you have an idea of what you want to do, and you have a plan of how to get there. And usually the plan consists of, well, I'm going to have that, I'm going to do that when I've got the money or when I've got the time. So when we were talking about thought frequencies, it's about making that committed decision. So you make the decision, I'm going to go for that goal. But when I've got the money or when I've got the time. And after a while, when the time and the money doesn't show up, because that's not how the laws of the universe work, the goal disappears, you give up on it. And that's why a B-type goal isn't strong enough to hold your motivation. Now, Bob said the only type of goal that you need that is worthy is a C-type goal. And that is something that you want to do, but you have no idea how to do it. And you think that you don't really have the skills to do it. So you've got absolutely no idea where to start, and you don't even know if you can do it. So it's the kind of goal that you really, really, really want. It makes you so excited, but the change that is going to be required to get it is massive. So you feel absolutely terrified. And that is a worthy goal. It absolutely excites and amazes, and I want this. I would give my life for this. But equally, it terrifies you. And the fear is your paradigm, because it understands that to get to the goal, you are going to have to make some big changes. And paradigms don't like change. They want you to stay exactly where you are, where it's safe, where it's known, where it's predictable. It doesn't want you to grow. It wants you to stay over here. And that's where the frustration comes from. When you want to be up here, but you're staying down here. And in between is something called a terror barrier. So every time you get close to it, your paradigm drags you back. Or you bounce into the terror and then you go straight back into safety. And terror barrier is something that is covered on a program that I facilitate that is absolutely brilliant at helping you to set worthy goals. I will talk more on that on tomorrow's session. But back to today's session. So how do we set a worthy goal? Well, there are 5 steps. And a few of you have probably seen these little images that I put out across my social media earlier this week or late last week. So there are 5 steps to setting a worthy goal. Excuse me. Step number 1, write a list of what you really, really want. And remember, no thoughts as to how you can or can't get it. It's just a list of what you want. Now, those of you that have been with me all week, or those of you that are caught up with the replays, you've already done that because that was our homework for Monday night. Write a list of what you really, really want. See, told you you'd need it. Number 2, you choose one thing off that list and that becomes your goal. So you rank your list that you make in step 1 based on how much you want each one of them. So you rank them from like something you really want would be a 10, something that would be really nice would be like a 5. Okay, and then you take all your 10s and you decide which one you are going to want or that you do want more than all the others. And that becomes your goal. Step 3, you write down why you want it. There's no point in wanting something if you don't know why you want it. So it's coming up to Christmas soon. And I have a 7-year-old little girl who you would have seen in the pictures on Monday, Little Bean. And she hasn't written a Christmas list yet. But we gave her an Argos catalogue the other day. And those of you in the UK, Argos is like, I don't know if you have it in the States or anywhere else, but it's like a catalogue company where they literally sell everything. So we got her the Christmas Argos catalogue and she circled everything in it. And when I flipped through it with her, I turned around and said, well, why do you want that? I don't know, I just want it. Well, why do you want that? I don't know, I just want it. And what I've noticed with her is she is not attached to material things at all. Like most children have a favorite teddy or a favorite blanket or a favorite something. Hers changes on a weekly or daily basis. She's not attached to anything. So even if she buys something that she really, really wants at the time because she's seen it and she really, really wants it, within a couple of days, it's buried in the pile of stuff that is under her bed. So yes, you really want it, but you need to have a reason why you want it. Okay, otherwise it's just going to end up in the pile of stuff under the bed. You're going to lose interest in it if you don't know why. What will that thing that you really, really want do for you? So you could be setting a money goal. You could be saying, well, I earn £1,000 a month at the moment, and I want to earn £10,000 a month. Oh, hang on a minute. That's 10 times more than I earn now, and nearly my annual income in a month. That's quite scary. And I know when I set my big money goal, I was like, you can't do that. But the more I read and believed and followed these steps, the more I believed I could. So, but what is that 10,000 going to do for you each month? Why? For me, it's going to give me financial independence, which then means that I can do more of what I want to every single day. It means that I can travel more, that I can invest in some other activities that I want to be doing. I want to go into like doing some real estate or something like that, or traveling the world, or doing extra things with my hobbies and things like that. So you've really got to focus on why you want that goal. What is it going to do for you? Why do you want it? That why is your motivation. Okay. Next step, you then create a goal card. So for me, if my phone case will give it back, I have these little cards. This one's got nothing written on it. Okay. But these are my business cards that I give out to people. And on the back, there is a space for you to write what you really, really want. And the way that you write it is in present tense, and you basically turn your goal into a single sentence. So when you read it, it instantly throws all of those images of you with that thing into your head. Okay. And you start your goal with, I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning £10,000 a month and living the life of my dreams. Or I am so happy and grateful now that my business is really successful and I'm able to help the people that I want to help. You always write it in the present tense as if you have already achieved it. And then step 5, you read your goal card as often as possible. Bob always kept his goal cards in a plastic sleeve in his pocket. So whenever he put his hand in his pocket, he would feel the goal card, and that would instantly trigger the thoughts, trigger the memory, the future memory that you've created in your imagination of what it's like to already have that goal. And it would instantly refocus. Now, why do we need to keep repeating it? Why do we keep needing to focus on it? Why do we need to read it often? Well, as I've said a couple of times this week, repetition is the key to things sinking in. So what you're doing in your conscious mind eventually will seep down into your subconscious. So if something that you're thinking of constantly thinking of, who am I going to be? Who is that future person? What does it feel like to have that goal? If you are imagining yourself with that goal fulfilled, you are creating what's called a future memory. And after a while, you believe that future memory so strongly that your subconscious believes it's already true. And what that means is that you are then in harmony with the universe, getting loads and loads of ideas on how to get to that point. So you need to internalize your goal so that your creative mechanism, your goal-seeking cybernetic organism that is your subconscious, is just going to work on autopilot to go and get you towards that goal. And it's as simple as that. The bit that's difficult is that we as humans make it incredibly difficult. And I am guilty of that as well. But we're just like, well, what if this and what if that? We're too logical and we have too many internal arguments with our paradigm. And those arguments are from your paradigm because it's trying to get you to not change. But what you've got to do is constantly beat back at it. Say, no, I want this because of this, my why. I want this because of what it's going to do for me. I want this. I don't want what I have now. I'm focusing on what I want in the future. Make sense? Any questions at all? Let me check the chat. No hands up. Good job. Okay, moving on. How does a goal keep us motivated? So you've set this goal and you've got some big roadblocks and something has thrown something in your way that could completely derail the whole thing. How does your goal then keep you motivated so that you can continue doing the habits and you can continue making the changes? Well, as I said, your goal is your destination. And if your goal has a worthy and a real powerful why, you will do anything to get it because it is worth giving your life for. Okay, so think of a goal like a destination in a sat nav. You have your sat nav and you program your destination. So I put in Leeds into here to give an example. And when you set the destination, it then gives you some different routes and you choose the one that you want. I've chosen the most direct. Yeah, it's got a little bit of red when I did it, but hey, we'll deal with that when we get to it. There's going to be roadblocks on the way. There's always going to be traffic. Unless you're driving at 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe. But even that depends on the day of the year. Okay, so you program your destination. You take a look at the potential routes that you could take. Nothing too detailed. You know roughly if I'm going from Plymouth to Leeds, I need to go roughly northeast. I don't need to know anything else. I'm just going to go that way. And I'm going to go on the motorways instead of on the little back roads. Or part of this is going on a few little back roads because I like a bit of variation. Okay, you press go in your sat nav. and off you go. At the end of the road, turn right. So you get to the end of the road and you turn right. At the next roundabout, go straight over. Yeah. So step by step, your sat nav will give you the next set of directions. It is a cybernetic organism, exactly the same as your mind. And your mind works in the same way. You give it a goal, you've internalized the goal, you've told it where you want to go, and you're constantly focusing on where you are going. You will then receive the ideas at each step to then take. Once you take that next step, it will give you the next one. And it all happens automatically as long as you stay focused on your goal and open-minded. So you might hit a roadblock, like on your sat nav, you might hit some traffic. I know, like on my phone, when it's coming up, it will say there is traffic in 5 miles. But I found another way. Would you like to go this way? It saves, I don't know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but costs an extra few miles. Okay. So, for example, I could hit just south of Bristol, and it could say that there's a big crash at the motorway junction there, and it could then take me up through Bath, which is going to take a little bit longer because it's not a wide road. It's quite small and wiggly, very pretty, but small and wiggly. So you then make the decision. You hit a roadblock. Are you going to go through it, or are you going to be open to ideas to go around it? And as long as you stay open-minded, and as long as you stay focused on where you want to go, and your why is strong enough, you will just keep going. But a big point I want to make, yes, you are focused on your goal. You are focused on where you want to go, but enjoy the journey. How many of us, when we go on holiday, you don't remember the journey unless it's rubbish and you end up 3 hours delayed in the airport, blah, 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 all the usual negative stuff. But how many of us are just so focused on, right, I'm going to get on the plane, I'm going to go, and I'm going to be happy when I get there? Well, what about the journey in between? I always make sure whenever I travel, I have window seats because I want to see what's going on. I don't want to sit on a plane with my headphones in, staring at a screen for 20 hours or whatever. No, I want to look out the window. I want to see what's going on. I want to see the clouds. I want to see the journey because that's where I am right at that second. I know where I'm going and I know I'm going to get there. But this whole chunk in between me leaving and me arriving, well, that's quite a big chunk of my life. Maybe not if I'm just traveling to Europe, maybe. But in the long run, if it's a big goal that we're heading towards, it's going to take a while to get there. Because law of law of gestation says that any idea, any seed planted, either a vegetable seed or a baby animal in its mother, takes a set amount of time before it becomes the plant that it is born to be, basically. And a goal is the same. If you've got a big goal, it's going to take a lot longer to get to it because that is just the way it has to be. But all of this stretch in between, that's still your life. So enjoy it. You only have where you are right now. You can't change the past, so learn from it, move on. And you can't predict the future. You know your destination, but from here to there, you cannot predict how many lefts, how many rights. You know roughly where you're going to go, but you can't predict what's going to throw up. So stay focused on where you are right now. Enjoy the journey as you go. Okay, make sense? Good. Thank you. Okay. Ask yourself every single day if what you are doing is getting you any closer to where you want to be. And if the answer is no, stop doing it. What's the point in having a goal and being motivated to get somewhere if you're not taking the action steps? And this was a big thing for me back in August. I set a massive goal in May and I set it to be done by July. And I went through May and I went through June and I went through July. I was very busy, but I still hadn't achieved it. So I shifted it a couple of months. And I got halfway through August and I realized, hang on, I'm incredibly busy. I am making a lot of work for myself and I'm doing all of these things, but I'm not actually doing what I need to be doing. I'm procrastinating because my paradigm had subconsciously, without my awareness, because I wasn't aware at the time, sabotaged me into thinking that I was really busy, but I wasn't being productive and I wasn't getting any closer to my goal. I wasn't getting further away. I was just plodding along, but my goal was up here and I'm plodding along down here. Now I'm plodding along at this level with my goal because I'm aware. And every single day I get this niggling little voice in the back of my head saying, is that relevant to your goal? And you go, oh, no, yeah, no, thank you. So my intuition is kicking in now and fighting back against my paradigm. It's brilliant. It's so fun because you can have like little conversations in your head. I don't need admitting into a psychiatric ward. I just love this kind of stuff. Okay. And the planetuding journal that I mentioned yesterday, and I mentioned the bookmark, has got your why. And that's why I wrote it in there. So this is what I want. My reason why I will forsake everything that distracts me from my goal and living the life of my dreams. So you write it on there and you have it in your journal or in the book that you're reading or in your day-to-day diary. So it's always somewhere you can see it. You can also print it and put it on your goal card. Okay. But your goal card will instantly make you think of your why anyway. Oh, you're with me so far? Going a bit scatterbrained tonight, but this is like my favorite bit because it's so fun. Thank you for the thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. Two last little things I want to cover. A get done list is my uber favorite part of this bit because it is such a massive motivational thing. Okay. So you have a generic to-do list, and a to-do list sounds quite demanding. It's like you have to do this or else. It's like, and you put everything on it, and it's a bit demoralizing because, yeah, you get to tick them off. But I don't know about you. I find to-do lists, I like them because I like to tick them off. I write things on it once I've already done them and tick them off because I like to see the things ticked off. But what I've found is a more visual representation is this. So what you do is you write your to-do list in a get done format. So it's still like answer emails, walk the dog, make the bread, do the washing. In a job, it could be go to the meeting, finish the report, do the data analysis, anything that is in the get done list. When you're working on one thing, you move it to the doing and you focus on it until it's done or until you can't do anything else with it. And then once it's done, you move it to got done and you leave it there. You don't scrub it out. You don't tick it off. You don't cross it out in any way. You leave it on the got done. Now, you could do this as a spreadsheet or on a whiteboard or on a pegboard, post-it notes on the wall, which aren't quite as good as I thought they'd be. And I would have a lovely display to show you behind me, but I opened the window earlier and they all blew off. So they're not great for post-it notes. But if I'd stuck them in with thumbtacks or drawing pins, as we call them in the UK, they would have stayed on the wall better. Now I do it through a spreadsheet. Okay. And the best thing about that is, the most important bit is you then have a whole list of things that aren't crossed out and they aren't ticked, but they're in a whole list of things that you have done. And when you look at it and you see your get done list, eventually your got done is going to be bigger because everything that goes on your get done list will end up in the got done. And you don't delete them. They don't move. They stay there. They are like an ongoing record of your little wins. And those little wins are going to skyrocket your motivation. When you get to a point one day that, I haven't done very much, I haven't been very productive, or what have I actually done today? Go and look at your got done list. And you'll instantly say, actually, yeah, no, I've done all of that. That's awesome. And it could be for the last week. It could be for one day. It could be for the last month. It's up to you how you run it. But seeing that got done column is so rewarding. Try it. It's great. Okay, last little thing I want to cover this evening before we go into a bit of Q&A. Accountability. You can have a great goal and you can have habits and you've got your get done list and everything else and you're really determined, and then something comes up and maybe you skip a day or maybe something happens. Oh, well, I'm going to do that instead. Paradigm kicks in and goes, well, I'd rather do this today. I don't want to do that. When we hold ourselves to account, we give ourselves a free pass. Oh, I'm going to get 3 items listed on my e-commerce shop today for all you drop shippers out there. And it gets to 10 o'clock at night and you're like, well, I've done 2. 2's better than, I can always catch up and do another one tomorrow. That extra one tomorrow isn't going to get done. You and I both know that. You're only going to get 3 done tomorrow or 2 done tomorrow. And after a few days, you're not getting any done because you've given yourself a free pass too many times. Or I'll get on with answering those emails. I'm just going to watch one more episode of Netflix. 3 episodes later, you're like, I should have gone to bed 2 hours ago. Okay? Accountability is really key to all of this. It's like your decision making. So you have to make a committed decision, you have to follow it through. And being accountable to yourself is nowhere near as effective as being accountable to someone else. So, as Swati Avashti says, isn't it too convenient just to forgive yourself? Let yourself off the hook. What will keep you from doing it again then? So, you let yourself off the hook once, you're going to keep doing it. So the key to accountability is to have an accountability partner. And that is one of the big things that I do. And I do have a few friends of mine and a few contacts that I do hold to account. So I have a very good friend of mine who she was on one of my early webinars, and she turned around to me and she said, can you hold me to account to go to bed earlier and to get up earlier in the morning? I'm going to bed too late and then I'm having to get up early in the morning to go to work and I'm just so tired. I said, okay, what time do you want to go to bed? 10:30, right? So I set an alarm on my phone with her name and say, get to bed. And then I said, well, what time do you want to wake up in the morning? She said, well, I have to be up at 6:30. So I want to start getting up at 6 because I want to do some exercise in the morning. Okay, so I set another alarm and I'm up at 5:30 anyway for my awesome 6 a.m. club that I do every morning with some colleagues of mine. So 10:30 every evening, I text her, say, you in bed yet? And actually, what I'm finding is for the last week or so, she doesn't text me back until the morning. And she said, no, I was already asleep. So we've actually made the agreement now that I don't text her in the evening, but I still text her in the morning. And it actually happens, it's quite fun. A lot of mornings, I will get a message at about 5 to 6 saying, I'm up and ready, you're awesome. And I'm like, whoop, whoop, go for it. And the thing is yes, I'm holding her to account, but she's also holding me to account to hold her to account. So I'm helping with my own accountability by supporting her with the things that she wants to do. And that's just one example. I do have a couple of other people that I am working with that I do that with as well. Okay, so get an accountability partner. It could be that it's somebody at home or a good friend, a partner, a spouse, a work colleague, where you hold each other to account to get work things done. But you need to have an accountability partner who will hold you to account, because you will give yourself a free pass. They ain't gonna. They will be like, you have things to do. So I do, again, have a couple of other people that I work with who are drop shippers, who every day I say, have you done your 3? And it's about 6 o'clock in my time that I message them, and they're in the States, so it's around 12 lunchtime. And they're like, no, I haven't done my 3 yet. Okay, we'll get on with it. And then they'll message me an hour later saying, yep, done my 3. There's no excuses then, because excuses don't wash. You feel bad if you let someone else down. It's the way we're hardwired. So get yourself an accountability partner. I'm more than happy to help you with it. All my contact details are at the end. Okay. And that is the content for today. So we've gone through why we must have a goal. What is a worthy goal? Terrifies, but also excites you. Terrify, coming from your paradigm, because it doesn't want you to change. Excites you because that is what you really want. That's the image that you have in your head that you really want. How do we set a worthy goal? 5 steps. How does it keep us motivated? But remember to focus on the journey as well as where you're going. So one eye on where you're going, so you've got your target, and one eye on where you are now. Enjoy where you are now. You'll get done to got done list instead of a to-do list, and accountability. Now, homework for this evening. Decide on your worthy goal. So this page is out of the Planetuding Journal, and I am going to include it on the email that I send to everybody who's registered. Whether you're here live or not, you will get the email, same as you've had every day this week. It's on a Google Doc, so you can edit it, and I'll send it through as an attachment as well if you want to download it to your computer or print it. Fill it out step by step. So step 1, what do you really want? You've already done that. You did it Monday. Step 2, you decide on, have I ever done these? Do I know how to do them? Both of those need to answer no. If you answer yes, scrub it off. It's not a worthy goal. What do I need to get these? This is where the thinking for tonight comes in. You need to work out what habits you need to change and what skills you need to learn to be able to get those. Now, you did, as part of the homework yesterday, start thinking about your non-productive habits, and hopefully they were linked in some way to what you want. So if you want to be exercising in the morning, your habit is going to be setting up everything the night before and setting your alarm and getting up and going. Or if you want to get up earlier in the morning, your habit is going to be going to bed earlier at night. So decide on what you need. You might want to start a business. So what you need to get that business up and running is some training on how to start a business. And it could come from anywhere. Okay, you could end up doing a degree, or a little bit less informal, you could find a coach online who can help you. Make sure you read all the reviews. Okay, so you've got to work out what you need to be able to get the things that you want. Next one is a bit of a question. Am I willing and able to learn or get these things? Now, if you can see yourself with them, you are able, full stop. That's an easy yes. But are you willing? Because some of the changes you're going to have to make to reach a big goal are going to be quite substantial. And you're going to have to give up some of the stuff that you have now. And it could be that where you are now, you might have to dip a little bit, take a cut in where you are now in order to skyrocket and go up the other side. Okay? But don't worry, you're not going to be in that dip for long. Make sure you're safe and secure. You've got food, you've got shelter. But everything else can start taking a little bit of a turn. For example, your Netflix time, 3 hours a night or whatever people watch, becomes your study time, becomes your work on the business time. Netflix will still be there next year when you're high flying and got all the time in the world. Okay, after that, how does this make me feel? So you've decided on what you really want. You've decided on the one thing that you really want. You've decided that you've never done it before and you don't know how to do it. You've decided on what skills you need to do and that you are willing and able. So how are you feeling on that point? Now, when I went through this, I felt quite sick, to be honest, because I was absolutely terrified. I was like, I can't do that. What if, what if, what if? Shut up, paradigm. What if I succeed? What if I get to where I want to be? What if I'm building my lake house in 5 years' time? Focus on the positives, and then you write your goal. So I am so happy and grateful now that, and then you sign it, and then you set a date to it. There's no point in putting an open-ended date with no set date on it. You need to have a date of when it's achieved by, because that gives you the sense of urgency rather than, it'll be completed when it's completed. No, set a date. If you get to that date and you haven't got it yet, all you did was set the wrong date. That's all. You don't know at this point how long it's going to take, but you set a date and then you reset a date, reevaluate it, but don't make it 30 years in the future. It's got to be imminent. Okay. My date at the moment changes every month. I'm getting close to it every month, but I haven't quite achieved what I want to achieve yet. So my goal date just moves. It is what it is. I wasn't able to predict it, and that's okay. All right. So thank you for joining me for day 4 today. We now have a bit of time for some Q&A. I have a couple that have come through in the chat, so I will read those out as well. But again, thank you for joining me, whether you are here live or on the recording. All of my contact details are there. I've got my Facebook, my Instagram, my email. I'm also on Pinterest and LinkedIn. And if you want a free 30-minute discovery call, one-to-one, no obligation, to go through this stuff relevant to you, then just drop me a message on my Calendly, book an appointment. You'll see all of my open appointment slots. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention on the homework, once you've set your worthy goal, stick it in the Facebook group or email me it so we can celebrate it and we can help you get to it. Okay. So does anyone have a question that they want to come out and ask? And while you think, I'll do the one from the chat. So the person would like to know, can you give me some more tips on how to set a goal? And in a general sense, yes, but your goal will be individual to you and only you can decide if it's big enough for you. Okay. But to get what you really want, as I said on Monday, you need to get really relaxed. Picture in your mind what you really want and see yourself with it. Then, once you can see yourself in your mind's eye already doing all those things, really feel it. Feel how that person is feeling. Are they feeling proud? Is their skin feeling really warm because they're in a hot, sunny climate? Are they feeling absolutely amazing because they've managed to lose however many kilograms of weight that you want to lose? Okay. Keep focusing on that image. I focus on mine quite a few times during the day when I want to project myself somewhere else or I've got a quiet 5 minutes, but mostly I do it just before I go to bed. And I go to sleep dreaming about it. And then my mind just expands it overnight. And some of the ideas I wake up with in the morning they're quite out there, but they are so relevant. Okay, so you focus on it as often as you can. And then you go through every single day acting and doing everything as if you were already that person. So you decide on what you want, you write it on your goal card, you decide on your why and you focus on it, and then you act as if you are already that person. Okay? The constant spaced repetition of constantly seeing yourself will give the image to your subconscious mind, which will just run away with it. It will believe it's true, and it will just get to work with manifesting everything that you want. Okay? Now, are there any other questions? We have a couple of minutes. Thank you for the comments. They are absolutely so heartwarming. I love the fact when I get messages that say excellent and well done. I really hope this stuff is helping you guys as much as it has helped me. Any other questions at all? No? Those of you that are on the recording, or if any of you in the live don't want to come out and speak, that's absolutely fine. Drop me a message after this. You've got all of my contact details. You've got my email. You will get another email shortly once this has uploaded onto YouTube. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you on the call tomorrow evening. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to stop the share and thank you again. Cheers.